What if, in the middle of a heated, chaotic argument, you could become the calm, unshakable eye of the hurricane? What if you possessed the profound power to douse the raging flames of a conflict with the quiet, cool water of your own composure? This incredible strength is not a magical gift you are born with. It is a shield you can forge, a discipline you can learn. Today, you will learn how to build it, how to keep calm in heated conversations, compiled and published by Stoic Power. Lesson 1. Recognize emotional triggers fast. Imagine you are a highly trained bomb disposal expert approaching a complex and volatile device. The timer is ticking and the pressure is immense. A foolish amateur would just start randomly cutting wires, driven by panic, almost guaranteeing a catastrophic explosion. But the master expert does something entirely different first. She kneels down, she becomes perfectly still, and she studies the device with intense, focused calm. Her primary mission is not to disarm the bomb, but to first understand it. She is searching for the specific trigger mechanism, the one delicate component that, if accidentally tripped, will set off the entire chain reaction. She knows that all her skill is useless if she doesn't first identify the trigger. The inner conflict for every one of us in a heated conversation is that we are the foolish amateur. We are constantly setting off the bombs of our own emotional reactions without ever understanding their trigger mechanisms. The painful and debilitating problem is that we are often hijacked by our own emotions in a conversation. A specific word, a certain tone of voice, or a particular topic can instantly cause us to explode in anger or crumble in shame, and we are often left feeling confused about why our reaction was so disproportionate to the situation. We say things like, "I don't know what came over me." We feel powerless over our own emotional detonations because we are completely unaware of our own internal tripwires. We have never taken the time to study the device. This makes us unpredictable, unreliable in conflict, and easy to provoke, not just by others, but by our own unexamined sensitivities. The transformative solution is to stop being the amateur who is constantly surprised by the explosion and to become the calm, methodical expert of your own psychological wiring. It is the crucial, foundational practice of identifying your personal emotional triggers with the precision and curiosity of a detective at a crime scene. The core Stoic idea is that awareness must always precede control. You cannot control or manage a reaction if you do not understand its root cause. The Stoics were masters of self-examination, believing that the first and most important subject to study is oneself. They knew that our powerful emotional reactions do not spring from nowhere. They are ignited by very specific sparks landing on the dry kindling of our own personal beliefs, fears, and insecurities. To know your triggers is to know the map of your own vulnerabilities, which is the first step toward defending them. The benefit of this practice is that it is the beginning of true emotional freedom. Once you can see the cause and effect relationship between a specific trigger and your emotional explosion, the pattern loses its mysterious, unconscious power over you. You are no longer a helpless victim of your reactions. You are a conscious observer of them, which gives you the power to intervene and choose a different path. The actionable step to begin your detective work is to perform a trigger autopsy. After a heated conversation has cooled down, take out a journal and, with a spirit of non-judgmental curiosity, perform an autopsy on the conflict. Ask yourself these probing questions. 1. What was the exact moment in the conversation that I felt myself losing my composure? Pinpoint it with as much precision as possible. 2. What specific word, phrase, or tone of voice was the spark that ignited my reaction? Be specific. 3. What deeper insecurity, fear, or painful belief within me did that specific spark touch upon? This is the kindling. For example, the trigger was when my partner said, "You're not listening." The kindling is my deep-seated fear of being seen as a bad or selfish partner. By logging these events, you will begin to create a detailed blueprint of your own emotional trigger system. You will discover that it's often the same few triggers and the same few underlying beliefs that are causing the majority of your emotional detonations. This knowledge is pure gold. It is the secret schematic of the bomb you keep accidentally setting off. I urge you to begin your investigation this week. Perform an autopsy on your next emotional reaction. This is the first step to disarming it forever. Once we know our triggers, we must develop the discipline to pause before we react to them. Our next lesson is dedicated to this crucial in-the-moment skill. Before we continue, please subscribe to the Stoic Power channel to continue your training as a master of your own mind. Lesson 2. Pause before heated responses. Imagine a master archer at a competition, her reputation on the line. She pulls the heavy bowstring back, the tension immense. A novice archer, anxious and reactive, might release the arrow the instant the bow is drawn, sending it flying wildly off target. But the master archer knows that the most critical moment of the entire shot is not the drawing or the releasing, but the tiny space of perfect stillness in between. After she has drawn the bow, she holds for a moment of profound, focused calm. In that silent, pregnant pause, she perfects her aim. She steadies her breath, and she commits to the shot. Only then does she allow the arrow to fly. That pause is where the chaotic power of the drawn bow is transformed into a thing of precision and purpose. The inner conflict we face in a heated conversation is that we are almost always the novice archer. We skip the pause entirely. The painful problem is that in a heated conversation, there is often zero space between the stimulus, the other person's challenging words, and our response. Their words hit our ears, and our own words come flying out of our mouths instantly, automatically and reactively. We fire back without thinking, our verbal arrows sharpened with anger, defensiveness, and ego. These reactive shots almost always miss the mark of a wise, compassionate, or productive reply. They escalate the conflict, wound the other person, and damage the relationship. We are simply reacting to the tension, not directing it. This lack of a pause is the very mechanism of emotional hijacking, and it leaves us with a wake of regret, wondering why we always say the wrong thing in the heat of the moment. The transformative solution is the conscious, deliberate, and disciplined insertion of a pause. It is the art of becoming the master archer who understands that the moment of stillness before the release is what determines where the arrow will land. The core Stoic idea is that the space between stimulus and response is where our entire freedom and power as human beings reside. A reaction is instantaneous, mindless, and often animalistic. A response is deliberate, mindful, and guided by our higher reason. The pause is the sacred gateway that allows us to move from the low ground of reaction to the high ground of response. The Stoic trains himself to live in this space, to make it wider and more accessible through daily practice. The benefit of this is that you take back control of your own tongue. You stop being a source of escalation, and you start being a source of calm. You give yourself the precious gift of a moment to think, to let the initial wave of emotion pass, and to choose a reply that aligns with your values and your long-term goals for the relationship, rather than one that simply serves your wounded ego in the moment. The actionable step to cultivate this is to make a personal commitment to the two-breath rule. This is a simple but not easy practice. In any conversation that you feel is becoming heated or confrontational, you must make a personal rule that you will take 2 slow, deliberate, and silent breaths after the other person finishes speaking and before you begin to reply. You can inhale through your nose and exhale slowly through your mouth. No one even needs to know you are doing it. These 2 breaths, perhaps taking only 5 or 6 seconds, will feel like an eternity in a heated moment. But they are your pause. They are your moment of stillness. They are the gateway to your freedom. This brief delay is just enough time for your rational brain to catch up with your emotional brain, allowing you to choose your words with wisdom instead of reacting with fire. I challenge you to try the 2-breath rule in your next difficult conversation. Discover the immense power that lies in that small, deliberate space of stillness. A pause gives us a moment to collect ourselves, but how we hold our physical body during that pause is just as important. Our next lesson is on mastering neutral body language. If you are ready to become the master archer of your own words, please like this video. Lesson 3. Master neutral body language. Imagine a great ancient mountain. solid and impassive. A fierce thunderstorm rages around it, with violent winds and flashing lightning. The mountain does not tense up. It does not adopt an aggressive posture. It simply stands, its presence a testament to its immense, quiet strength and stability. Now imagine an active volcano on a different mountain range. Long before it erupts, it signals its inner turmoil. It trembles, smoke billows from its peak, and its very shape seems to contort with the pressure building within. Its outer form is a direct expression of its inner chaos. The inner conflict we face in a heated conversation is whether we will embody the stillness of the mountain or the agitated trembling of the volcano. The painful problem is that even if we manage to control our words, our body language often betrays and escalates our inner turmoil. When we feel attacked or disrespected, we unconsciously adopt aggressive or defensive postures. We clench our fists and our jaw. We cross our arms tightly over our chest as a shield. We narrow our eyes into a glare. We lean forward in a threatening way. These physical actions are not neutral. They are powerful signals that pour gasoline on the conversational fire. They communicate to the other person on a primal, non-verbal level, "You are my enemy, and I am preparing for battle." This immediately puts them on the defensive and makes a peaceful resolution almost impossible. Our own body language becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of conflict. The transformative solution is to gain conscious control over your physiology, to learn how to deliberately embody the stillness of the mountain, which in turn helps you to feel that stillness within. The core Stoic idea is that the mind and body are not separate entities. They are a deeply interconnected feedback loop. A chaotic mind creates a tense body. But it is also true that a deliberately calmed body can help to create a calm mind. The Stoics understood that self-mastery must include the physical domain. By choosing a posture of peace, you are sending a powerful signal back to your own brain to deactivate the fight or flight response. You are also sending a powerful de-escalating signal to the other person. The benefit of this is that you gain another powerful tool for managing conflict. You learn how to use your own body to project a calming influence on the entire situation. When you remain physically relaxed and open, it makes it much harder for the other person to maintain their own state of aggression. You are, through your own poise, inviting them into a more peaceful interaction. The actionable step to practice this is to learn the Posture of Peace checklist. During a heated moment, as you are taking your 2 breaths, mentally scan your own body from head to toe. First, your face. Consciously unclench your jaw and relax the muscles around your eyes. Try to maintain a neutral or even slightly curious expression. Second, your hands. Unclench your fists. Let your hands rest in a neutral position, perhaps open in your lap or hanging loosely at your sides. Open palms are a universal signal of non-aggression. Third, your arms and chest. Uncross your arms. An open chest signals a willingness to engage, while crossed arms signal defensiveness and closure. Fourth, your stance. Whether sitting or standing, feel your feet firmly planted on the ground. Feel your connection to the earth, like the mountain. This conscious physical reset is you choosing to be the mountain, not the volcano. It is a powerful practice of self-mastery. I urge you to practice this checklist right now. Feel the difference in your own state. Then, commit to using it the next time you find yourself in a tense conversation. You have mastered your physical response. But what about the argument that is raging inside your own head while the other person is speaking? Our next lesson is on the art of listening without mental arguments. To support our channel, please comment below on how you think mastering your body language could change your conversations. Lesson 4. Listen without mental arguments. Imagine you have 2 bowls. The first bowl is already full to the brim with your own opinions, your own arguments, and your own stories. When someone tries to pour their own perspective into your bowl, it immediately spills over the side, a rejected and wasted offering. The second bowl is empty, clean, and ready to receive. It offers a space for another's thoughts to be poured in, to be held, and to be examined with clarity. The inner conflict for us in any disagreement is that we almost always enter the conversation with a completely full bowl. The painful problem is that we don't actually listen to the other person, especially when we disagree with them. We are not engaged in the act of listening. We are engaged in the act of reloading. While they are speaking, we are not trying to understand their perspective. We are busy formulating our own counter-argument, preparing our rebuttal, and listening only for a keyword we can attack or a pause where we can insert our own brilliant point. We are having a loud, contentious argument with them inside our own head while their mouth is still moving. This makes true communication impossible. It guarantees that we will misunderstand their position, and it ensures that they will feel completely unheard, invalidated, and disrespected. It is the single greatest barrier to conflict resolution and one of the primary reasons arguments go in circles without ever finding a solution. The transformative solution is to learn the discipline of deliberately and consciously emptying your own bowl before you listen. It is the practice of listening to understand, rather than listening to reply. The core Stoic idea is that wisdom begins with the acknowledgement of our own potential for ignorance. To assume you already know what the other person thinks and means without truly listening is an act of supreme ego. The wise person, the Stoic, seeks first to understand the reality of the situation before forming a judgment. In a conversation, the other person's perspective is a crucial part of that reality. To ignore it is to choose to act on incomplete information, which is a failure of reason. The benefit of this practice is that it is the ultimate de-escalation tool. When a person genuinely feels heard and understood, even if you don't agree with them, their defensiveness and aggression often melt away. You can only solve a problem once you both agree on what the problem actually is, and that requires a shared, accurate understanding of each other's perspectives. The actionable step to practice this is the paraphrase for clarity technique. This is a powerful communication skill. After the other person has finished making their point, and after you have taken your 2 calming breaths, your first response should not be your own argument. Your first response should be an attempt to understand. Say, "Let me see if I understand you correctly. What I think I'm hearing you say is," rephrase their core message in your own words as accurately and neutrally as possible. Is that right? This simple act forces you to have listened intently. It also gives the other person a chance to correct your understanding if you have misheard them. You will be amazed at how often you have, in fact, misunderstood their point. And you will be amazed at how their entire demeanor changes when they feel the deep respect of being truly heard. I challenge you to try this technique in your next disagreement. Make your primary goal not to win the point, but to be able to paraphrase their point to their satisfaction. Once you understand them, how do you frame your own words to diffuse their anger? Our next lesson is on this very art. If you're ready to become a master listener, please subscribe to the Stoic Power channel. Lesson 5. Frame words to diffuse anger. Imagine you are a skilled diplomat tasked with negotiating a peace treaty between 2 warring factions. You must communicate a difficult message or a firm position without causing the other side to storm out of the room. A foolish diplomat would use blunt, accusatory language, swinging his words like a clumsy axe. He might say, "Your position is wrong and your demands are ridiculous." This guarantees an angry, defensive reaction and a complete breakdown of the talks. The master diplomat, however, knows that the way a message is framed is just as important as the message itself. He chooses his words with the precision of a surgeon, carefully crafting his sentences to deliver his point clearly and firmly, but in a way that minimizes the other person's defensiveness and maximizes the chances of a peaceful resolution. The inner conflict we face in heated conversations is that we are almost always the foolish diplomat, swinging the axe of our words. The painful problem is that in the heat of an argument, we use inflammatory, accusatory language that is practically guaranteed to make the situation worse. We use global, attacking statements like, "You always do this," or "You never listen to me." We attack the other person's character. "You're so selfish," instead of addressing the specific issue at hand. This kind of language immediately puts the other person on the defensive. It forces them into a corner where their only options are to attack back or to shut down completely. It makes it impossible for them to hear our underlying need or feeling because they are too busy defending themselves from the verbal assault. Our poor choice of words becomes a massive obstacle to resolving the very issue we are trying to discuss. The transformative solution is to become the skilled diplomat of your own relationships. It is the disciplined practice of choosing to frame your words in a way that diffuses anger and invites collaboration, rather than provoking it. The core Stoic idea is that our speech should be guided by reason and a sense of justice or fairness to the other person. While we must speak our truth, we have a duty to do so in a way that is as clear, rational, and non-violent as possible. The goal is not to win the fight with clever attacks, but to solve the problem together. To do this, we must attack the problem, not the person. The benefit of this is that you become a masterful conflict resolver. You learn how to discuss even the most difficult and emotional topics in a way that is productive and respectful. This will transform the quality of your relationships, building deeper trust and intimacy as your partner or friend learns that they can disagree with you without being attacked. The actionable step is to learn and practice the I statement formula, a cornerstone of nonviolent communication. Instead of starting a sentence with the accusatory you start it with I. The basic formula is, when describe the objective, specific event, I feel, state your own emotion, because explain your underlying need or reason. For example, instead of swinging the axe and saying, you never help around the house, you're so lazy, the skilled diplomat would say, when I see the dishes piled up in the sink after I've worked all day, I feel exhausted and unappreciated because I need us to be a team in managing our home. This statement is unarguable. The other person cannot logically argue with how you feel. It communicates your experience without attacking their character, which invites empathy and problem-solving rather than defensiveness. I urge you to take one common you statement you use in your arguments and reframe it as an I statement this week. Practice saying it. This skill is a game changer. Framing our words carefully is a powerful tool. But what happens when the other person doesn't reciprocate and we find ourselves under a direct verbal attack? Our next lesson is on how to hold our inner calm in those intense moments. Please like this video if you're committed to becoming a more skilled communicator. Lesson 6. Hold inner calm under attack. Imagine a deep, solid bedrock, miles beneath the surface of the earth. On the surface, a violent earthquake shakes the ground, toppling buildings and creating chaos. But the bedrock, deep below, remains utterly unmoved, unshaken, and unaffected by the surface turmoil. It is a foundation of absolute stability. Your core self, your rational mind, your character can be like that bedrock. The inner conflict we face is that when a heated conversation turns into a direct, personal verbal attack, we feel the earthquake on the surface and we believe our very foundation is cracking. The painful problem is that a direct personal attack, an insult, a harsh accusation, a questioning of our character, is designed to breach all our defenses and trigger our deepest insecurities. Our training in pausing and listening can fail. Our poise can crumble. Our instinct is to believe that our very self is under assault, and we react with the desperate energy of a cornered animal, either by lashing out with vicious counterattacks or by collapsing into a state of shame and worthlessness. We lose our inner calm completely because we have mistakenly identified ourselves with the surface ground that is being shaken, rather than with the deep, unshakable bedrock beneath. The transformative solution is the advanced Stoic practice of anchoring your sense of self so deeply and firmly in your own character that the earthquakes of other people's words and opinions cannot shake your core. The core idea is a powerful synthesis of the dichotomy of control and a profound sense of self-worth based on virtue. The Stoic warrior knows this. Their words are on the surface. My character is the bedrock. The two are in different realms and do not touch. The earthquake they create cannot crack my foundation because my foundation is not made of their opinions. It is made of my own integrity. Epictetus taught that if you are truly upset by an insult, it is a sign that on some level you believe there might be some truth to it. The man who is truly secure in his own character is not disturbed by false accusations, just as a mathematician is not disturbed by someone who insists that 2 + 2 = 5. He feels not anger, but perhaps a touch of pity for the other person's ignorance. The benefit of this is that you become truly free. You are no longer vulnerable to the most common weapon people use in conflicts, the personal attack. You can listen to even the harshest words without having your inner peace destroyed, which gives you the godlike ability to remain rational, calm, and even compassionate in the face of aggression. The actionable step to cultivate this bedrock stability is to develop and use an internal anchor mantra. This is a short, powerful phrase you repeat silently to yourself during a sustained verbal attack to keep you grounded in your own center. Your attention should be on the mantra, not on their words. The mantra acts as your connection to the bedrock. Examples could be, my worth is not determined by their opinion. I will not let their lack of control cause me to lose my own. This is just noise. My character is my reality. I am the bedrock. This is just a surface tremor. By silently repeating this mantra, you are actively shifting your identity from the shaking ground to the unshakable bedrock. You are refusing to let the earthquake penetrate your core. I challenge you to choose one of these mantras and to use it the next time you feel personally attacked. Anchor yourself in the bedrock of your own character. We have now learned all the tools to stay calm during the battle. But what is the final, crucial step after the battle is over? Our last lesson is on how to reflect and reinforce your Stoic control. Please subscribe to the Stoic Power channel to complete your training. Lesson 7. Reflect and reinforce Stoic control. Imagine a master warrior after a difficult battle. He has either been victorious or he has been defeated. A foolish warrior, if he has won, will simply celebrate, learning nothing. If he has lost, he will sulk in despair, also learning nothing. The wise warrior, however, does something entirely different. Regardless of the outcome, after the battle is over and the dust has settled, he retreats to his tent. He meticulously cleans his weapons. He carefully inspects his armor, looking for dents, cracks, and weak points that were revealed in the fight. He replays the battle in his mind, not to dwell on the past, but to analyze his strategy, his opponent's tactics, and his own performance. He learns from both his successful moves and his mistakes. This post-battle reflection is what ensures that he enters the next battle even stronger, wiser, and better prepared. The inner conflict we face is that we are often the foolish warrior. The painful problem is that after we have a heated conversation, a difficult argument, we just want it to be over. We try to forget about it and move on as quickly as possible, especially if it was an unpleasant experience. We fail to perform the crucial after-action review. Because of this, we are doomed to make the exact same mistakes in our next argument. We get caught in the same triggers, we lose our composure in the same way, and we fall into the same unproductive patterns, again and again, for years or even decades. We never improve our skill in communication because we fail to treat our conflicts as valuable training experiences. The transformative solution is to embrace the final and most crucial habit of the Stoic warrior, the discipline of post-conflict reflection. It is the understanding that the real growth happens not during the battle, but in the quiet, honest debrief after the battle is over. The core Stoic idea is that every experience, especially a challenging one, is a priceless opportunity for learning and growth. An unexamined conflict, like an unexamined life, is a wasted opportunity. The philosopher Seneca made it his most important daily practice to review his own actions, judgments, and encounters each evening, asking himself where he fell short and how he could improve. This is the engine of all self-improvement. The benefit of this is that you create a powerful upward spiral of continuous growth. You stop repeating your old mistakes and start building new skills. Each heated conversation, instead of being a source of pain and regret, becomes a valuable lesson that makes you calmer, wiser, and more effective for the next one. Your confidence grows because you know that even when you lose an argument, you can still win a valuable insight. The actionable step is to create a simple after-action review journal practice. Sometime after a heated conversation has completely cooled down, take 5 minutes and answer these questions. 1. What was the initial trigger that set off the emotional heat in this conversation? 2. On a scale of 1 to 10, how well did I maintain my composure and respond rather than react? 3. Where did my composure break? What specific Stoic tool, like the pause or neutral body language, did I fail to use effectively? 4. What is the one single thing I can focus on doing 1% better in my next difficult conversation? This is you, sharpening your sword and polishing your armor after the fight. This practice will transform your relationship with conflict. You will begin to see it not as something to be feared, but as a valuable opportunity to practice your art and to reinforce your Stoic control. I urge you to conduct your first after-action review this week. The path to unshakable calm is paved with the stones of honest self-reflection. We have journeyed through the 7 great disciplines of the Stoic, from identifying the sparks that ignite our inner storms to the wise practice of post-conflict reflection. This path teaches us that remaining calm in a heated conversation is not a passive trait, but an active, courageous, and highly skilled art. It is the art of mastering ourselves so that we may engage with others with wisdom, strength, and peace. Thank you for taking this time to learn how to become the calm center of the storm. If this video has served you on your journey, please like this video, comment with your greatest takeaway, and subscribe to the Stoic Power channel for more content on forging an unconquerable mind and a life of profound integrity.